Okay, guys, so now we are in our finale segment, and our finale segment involves Tamar Braxton again, and it also involves Loni Love. Now, Loni Love and Tamar Braxton previously worked together in the past on a show called The Real. The Real is a daytime television show with interviews and talk segments like girl chat and things where they talk about things that are going on in the world today, and just different types of issues and fun segments on the show. It's a pretty nice and fun show, but I stopped watching it because of all the changes and because it was just too hard to upkeep everything. But I went ahead and found this story on the Jasmine brand, and I want to go ahead and talk about it. Now, this whole situation right here that we're about to talk about is revolving around a new book that Loni Love came out with. And in this book that she's got, she also talks about Tamar Braxton and her departure from the show. Now, I'm going to kind of save my comments for later because, I'm going to kind of build up that story a little bit. But the book is called I Tried to Change So You Don't Have to. So I'm going to go ahead and read this excerpt from Jasmine brand, and we're going to go ahead and dig a little deeper and talk about this. So it says, the controversy surround Tamar Braxton's departure from the popular daytime television show, The Real, has seen its share of highs and lows. Just when the speculation seems to slow down, it peaks again. In a recent interview, Loni Love states everybody gets their day in court, and everybody gets to tell their side, and everybody gets to tell their truth. That's the reason why you write books. It's to tell the truth, or it's to tell your truth. Love makes it clear that getting Tamar Braxton fired from the show was above her pay grade, and what she had nothing to do with. In fact, she claims none of the girls should have been blamed. She followed up with, none of us did anything. In her new book, I Tried to Change So You Don't Have to, Loni Love offers her book to fans, an explanation to her side of the story, instead of trying to let it blow over on social media. And the rest of the Jasmine Brand's article is on their website. You can follow that whole story on thejasminebrand.com. Okay, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about this. So, I was a little confused because I was like, wait a minute, it's 2020. When did Tamar Braxton leave that show again? So I looked it up, and Tamar was let go of from the show back in 2016. So this all happened a whopping 4 years ago. Now, the show started back in 2013, and Tamar was on the show all the way up until 2016. And now we are in 2020. So I feel like this conversation about her leaving The Real gets circulated and gets talked about so much. It's to the point where it's like, why get her off the show when she's going to constantly be talked about and mentioned? And I don't know if people have noticed this, but the main person that's over here talking about Tamar all the time in her departure on the show is Loni Love. Now, I do not watch the show, but when I was watching a T page and them explaining things on the show, I noticed that when The Real had hit one of their really big accolades, Loni Love is over here bawling in tears because, as you guys know, she does cry a lot on the show. But she's over here bawling in tears, and she actually mentions Tamar's name again. And in that whole thing, she's like, we had hit this huge milestone, but we could not do this whole thing without mentioning Tamar Braxton. She was our sister on the show, and she, really made a big impact on the show and everything as well. And I'm just sitting here watching Loni do this. And I'm like, Loni, it comes to a point where you look guilty. You look guilty, and it makes me give you the side eye. Now, in the beginning, when Tamar was first released from the show, it was speculated that she didn't know who made her lose her job. She was speculating just like we were speculating. But her fingers was pointing at every single last one of them. She didn't know who was responsible of making her, lose her job. She started blaming everybody. She started unfollowing everybody. She felt like she couldn't be friends with them. And then once she calmed down, she started sending back out follows and things of that nature. As years go by, that's when more information comes out and things. And that's when, she starts getting this whole feeling that Tamar might have been the reason that, or Loni Love might be the reason that she was fired. And with the way that Loni constantly has Tamar's name in her mouth, I'm starting to think that's the truth as well. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but Tamar was talking to Loni about seeking new management because at the time, her then husband, Vincent Herbert, was her manager. And Tamar was just starting to feel like her career, as far as music and everything, was not really going where she wanted it to go. So she was trying to figure out ways where she can move her career forward, and Loni was helping her seek new management. And from there, I believe this is where, issues stirred between Vincent and the producers and things, and Tamar and the producers, and people backstage and stuff. And from there, she was cut from the show. And that's when, Tamar started putting two and two together that maybe Loni had something to do with her departure from the show, because she was kind of one of the last people regarding the show that she talked about before she was even let go. So to me, it seems like the fact that Loni Love keeps mentioning Tamar's name is a sign that she's guilty. I've never seen someone keep putting someone's name in their mouth when they know they're not the situation or the person's downfall, the reason behind that person being laid off in the first place. She constantly sits here and talks about her. Now, the ladies all went on a tour and went to the Breakfast Club where they kind of laid it all out, which I even thought that was weird because, there's been so many instances where on The View, they've replaced so many people, and we never not once seen them go on a full-on tour to go visit places to give a tell-all story as to what happened to one of their members that got laid off or one of their members that decided to quit. It's just, it is what it is. It's business. You go about your day and you move forward. Now, these ladies proclaim they have such a family-oriented vibe. That's why, I guess they may have taken it to this extreme. But to me, that's complete and utter BS because they didn't really care. That's why none of them really spoke up regarding Tamar's job. They all just kind of let it be what it was, and they just left it at that. If they really truly felt that strong about Tamar being on the show, they could have sat there and fought really hard to say, hey, we're not going to stop until she's back on the show. We all collectively think that the vibe will be completely off if somebody else was on the show, and we just can't continue the show without her.
Thank you for listening, everyone. If you enjoyed that podcast, please be sure to tune in every Monday through Friday on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Breaker, Radio Public, Pocketcasts, and Anchor for the rest of that podcast.